What if humanity's greatest discovery wasn't made by NASA, but by a space program that operates outside the traditional power structures of global space exploration? On August 23, 2023, India's Chandrayaan-3 mission achieved what many thought impossible: a successful soft landing near the moon's south pole. But the images that followed would shake the foundations of everything we thought we knew about our celestial neighbor. Dr. Sarah Chen, a former NASA imaging specialist who now works independently, was among the first to notice the anomalies. "When I saw the initial data releases from ISRO, something immediately caught my attention," she recalls. "There were formations in the background of several images that didn't match any known geological processes." The Indian Space Research Organization had accomplished something remarkable. Unlike previous lunar missions that focused on predetermined landing sites, Chandrayaan-3's trajectory took it over previously unexplored regions. The high-resolution cameras captured not just the expected lunar landscape, but something far more intriguing: geometric patterns that seemed almost artificial in their precision. Within hours of the images being released, independent researchers around the world began downloading and analyzing the data. What they found would challenge decades of official narratives about lunar exploration. The structures weren't random rock formations or impact craters. They displayed characteristics that suggested intelligent design: straight lines, perfect angles, and symmetrical patterns that nature rarely produces. But perhaps most disturbing was what happened next. Within 48 hours, several of the most detailed images mysteriously disappeared from public databases, replaced with lower-resolution versions that obscured the controversial details. The deleted images didn't vanish completely. Researchers who had downloaded the original files began sharing them through encrypted channels, and what they revealed was extraordinary. Dr. Marcus Webb, a geological engineer with 30 years of experience, examined the formations using advanced pattern recognition software. "These aren't natural formations," Webb stated in a leaked video conference. "The mathematical precision is undeniable. We're looking at structures that follow engineering principles: load distribution, geometric efficiency, purposeful design." The most striking anomaly appeared in a series of images taken during Chandrayaan-3's descent phase. A vast complex of interconnected geometric shapes stretched across several kilometers of lunar surface. The structures appeared to be partially buried, as if covered by millions of years of lunar dust and debris. Independent analysis revealed that the formations aligned with astronomical phenomena in ways that suggested deliberate positioning. The angles corresponded to Earth's orbital mechanics, solar positioning, and even the galactic center. Such precision couldn't be coincidental. More disturbing was the discovery of what appeared to be access points, circular openings that led beneath the lunar surface. These weren't impact craters or lava tubes. They were too perfectly round, too strategically placed. Thermal imaging data suggested temperature variations around these openings that indicated possible subsurface activity. As word spread through underground research communities, a pattern emerged. Similar anomalies had been observed in previous missions, but were either classified or dismissed as imaging artifacts. The difference with Chandrayaan-3 was that India's space program operated independently of traditional Western space agencies, making information suppression more difficult. The implications were staggering. If these structures were artificial, it meant humanity wasn't alone, and hadn't been alone for a very long time. Within a week of the anomalous images surfacing, a coordinated response began. Major news outlets received briefings from unnamed space agency officials dismissing the formations as pareidolia, the human tendency to see patterns where none exist. Scientific journals were contacted and advised against publishing papers on the subject. Dr. Elena Vasquez, a former NASA administrator who spoke on condition of anonymity, revealed the existence of what insiders call Protocol 7, a decades-old agreement between major space agencies to control the release of potentially disruptive discoveries. The protocol exists to maintain social stability, Vasquez explained. The reasoning is that certain discoveries could cause mass panic, economic collapse, or undermine governmental authority. But who gets to decide what humanity is ready to know? The suppression wasn't limited to official channels. Social media algorithms began flagging posts about the lunar anomalies as misinformation. Video platforms demonetized content creators who discussed the findings. Academic researchers found their funding threatened if they pursued the topic. But the most troubling aspect was the pressure applied to ISRO itself. Within days of the controversy erupting, India received offers of unprecedented cooperation from NASA and ESA, contingent on standardizing their data release protocols. The message was clear: conform to established practices or face isolation from the international space community. The speed and coordination of the response suggested this wasn't the first time such discoveries had been made. Historical analysis revealed similar patterns following previous lunar missions. Initial excitement over unusual findings, followed by official explanations and gradual memory holding of the evidence. Yet this time was different. The global reach of the internet and the independence of India's space program made complete suppression impossible. The truth was spreading faster than it could be contained. As pressure mounted to suppress the Chandrayaan-3 findings, an unexpected development occurred. A cache of previously classified documents from multiple space agencies began appearing on secure servers worldwide. The source remained anonymous, but the implications were explosive. The documents revealed that anomalous lunar structures had been detected as early as the 1960s. The Apollo missions had photographed similar formations, but the images were classified under national security provisions. Internal memos discussed non-terrestrial artifacts and evidence of prior lunar occupation. One particularly damning document from 1969 described a structured complex photographed during Apollo 11's orbit. The memo, stamped "Eyes Only," discussed protocols for handling discoveries that could fundamentally alter humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. The documents revealed a systematic pattern of discovery and suppression spanning decades. Every major lunar mission had encountered anomalies, but public releases were carefully edited to remove controversial elements. Advanced image processing techniques were used to obscure or eliminate evidence of artificial structures. Perhaps most shocking was the revelation that multiple world governments had been briefed on these discoveries. A 1987 briefing document outlined a global consensus to maintain secrecy until appropriate disclosure protocols could be established. Indeed, that was 36 years ago, and those protocols had never materialized. The leaked files also revealed the existence of a joint international committee tasked with monitoring and suppressing evidence of extraterrestrial artifacts. The committee included representatives from major space agencies, intelligence services, and academic institutions, a shadow organization operating beyond public oversight. As researchers analyzed the documents, a disturbing picture emerged. Humanity had been living with proof of non-human intelligence for over half a century, but a small group of individuals had decided that knowledge was too dangerous for public consumption. As official channels closed down discussion of the lunar anomalies, an underground network of researchers began forming. Scientists, engineers, and analysts from around the world connected through encrypted platforms, sharing data and coordinating investigations beyond governmental oversight. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a former JAXA engineer, became one of the network's key coordinators. We realized that traditional academic and governmental institutions had been compromised, she explained. If we wanted to pursue the truth, we had to operate independently. The network grew rapidly, attracting experts from diverse fields: geology, archaeology, engineering, and even artificial intelligence. They developed sophisticated analysis tools and methodologies, often surpassing the capabilities of official space agencies. Their findings were peer-reviewed within the network and published on decentralized platforms immune to censorship. Their analysis of the Chandrayaan-3 images revealed details that had been missed or ignored by mainstream researchers. The geometric structures showed evidence of multiple construction phases, suggesting they had been built and modified over extended periods. Some formations appeared ancient, while others showed signs of more recent activity. The network also began reanalyzing historical lunar data, applying modern techniques to decades-old images. They discovered that evidence of artificial structures had been hiding in plain sight, obscured by limited technology and institutional blindness. Enhanced processing revealed patterns and details that transformed seemingly natural formations into obviously artificial constructs. Most significantly, the network identified what appeared to be expansion of the lunar structures over time. Comparing images from different missions spanning decades showed subtle but consistent changes, new formations appearing, existing structures being modified, and increased activity around the mysterious access points. The implications were staggering. Not only were the structures artificial, but they appeared to be actively maintained and expanded by an unknown intelligence. As the underground research network expanded their investigation, they began uncovering connections between the lunar anomalies and historical mysteries on Earth. Dr. Amanda Foster, an archaeologist specializing in ancient civilizations, noticed striking similarities between the lunar geometric patterns and unexplained structures found at archaeological sites worldwide. The mathematical relationships are identical, Foster explained. The same proportions, the same angular relationships that we see in the lunar formations appear in megalithic sites across Earth: Stonehenge, the Giza complex, Puma Punku. It's as if they were designed using the same template. Ancient texts from various cultures began taking on new significance. Sumerian tablets describing watchers from the heavens, Hindu scriptures detailing cities in the sky, and Native American legends of sky people all seem to reference the same phenomenon. These weren't primitive misunderstandings of natural events. They were accurate descriptions of ongoing extraterrestrial presence. The research network discovered that many ancient astronomical sites were positioned to observe specific lunar regions, the same areas where Chandrayaan-3 had photographed the anomalous structures. Ancient peoples had been watching these locations for thousands of years, suggesting they knew something was there. Carbon dating of certain megalithic sites revealed construction periods that coincided with increased lunar activity, as evidenced by historical astronomical records. Ancient observers had documented unusual lights and movements on the moon's surface, phenomena that mainstream science had dismissed as atmospheric effects or observational errors. Most intriguingly, some ancient sites contained mathematical constants and astronomical data that shouldn't have been known to their builders. The precision of these calculations suggested access to advanced knowledge that might have come from the same intelligence responsible for the lunar structures. The evidence painted a picture of long-term interaction between Earth and an extraterrestrial presence based on the moon, with ancient civilizations serving as intermediaries or recipients of advanced knowledge. Advanced analysis of the lunar formations revealed technological sophistication that challenged human understanding of engineering and materials science. Dr. Robert Kim, a materials engineer who joined the Underground Research Network, applied cutting-edge analytical techniques to the available imagery and data. The structures demonstrate properties that we can barely achieve with our most advanced materials, Kim reported. They show no signs of degradation despite being exposed to the lunar environment for what appears to be thousands, possibly millions of years. Adid, the moon's harsh environment, extreme temperature variations, radiation bombardment and micrometeorite impacts should have destroyed any artificial structures over geological timescales. Yet, the formation showed remarkable preservation, suggesting materials and construction techniques far beyond current human capabilities. Spectral analysis of the structures revealed unusual reflectance patterns that didn't match any known lunar materials. The formations appeared to be constructed from substances with properties that allowed them to maintain structural integrity under extreme conditions, while remaining partially transparent to certain wavelengths of electromagnetic radiation. The geometric precision of the structures suggested manufacturing capabilities that exceeded human industrial capacity. Tolerances were measured in fractions of millimeters across formations spanning kilometers. Such precision required not just advanced tools, but sophisticated quality control and measurement systems. Perhaps most remarkably, the structures appeared to incorporate principles of physics that human science was only beginning to understand. The formations demonstrated characteristics consistent with metamaterial engineering, artificial materials designed to manipulate electromagnetic fields in ways that natural materials cannot. Some researchers theorized that the structures might serve as components in a vast technological system, possibly for communication, energy generation, or even space-time manipulation. The implications suggested that humanity was observing the remnants of a civilization whose technological capabilities far exceeded our own. As the Underground Research Network's findings gained traction, evidence emerged of a sophisticated global surveillance and information control operation designed to suppress knowledge of extraterrestrial presence. Whistleblowers from various intelligence agencies began providing documentation of programs specifically targeting researchers investigating anomalous phenomena. Former NSA analyst Jennifer Walsh revealed the existence of Project Looking Glass, a comprehensive monitoring system that tracked individuals researching extraterrestrial-related topics. Every search query, every download, every communication related to these subjects was flagged and analyzed, Walsh disclosed. Researchers were categorized by threat level and subjected to varying degrees of surveillance and interference. The program utilized advanced artificial intelligence to monitor global communications networks, automatically identifying and flagging content related to extraterrestrial evidence. Social media algorithms were modified to suppress such content, while search engines were programmed to prioritize debunking articles and official explanations over independent research. Academic institutions were infiltrated by intelligence assets who influenced research directions, funding decisions, and publication policies. Scientists who pursued controversial topics found their careers derailed through subtle but effective pressure campaigns. Funding dried up, peer review processes became hostile, and professional opportunities disappeared. The media landscape was carefully managed through a network of contacts and assets within major news organizations. Stories about extraterrestrial evidence were either ignored, ridiculed, or presented in ways that undermined their credibility. Serious researchers were portrayed as conspiracy theorists, while actual conspiracy theories were promoted to create confusion and discredit legitimate investigations. The scope of the operation was global, involving cooperation between intelligence agencies, space organizations, academic institutions, and media companies across multiple countries. The goal wasn't just to suppress information, but to shape public perception and maintain the illusion that extraterrestrial presence was purely speculative rather than documented fact. Despite intense pressure and surveillance, the Underground Research Network achieved a major breakthrough in analyzing the complete Chandrayaan-3 dataset. Dr. Pavel Novak, a former Russian space program engineer, had developed advanced image processing algorithms specifically designed to reveal hidden details in lunar photography. We applied techniques borrowed from archaeological remote sensing and military intelligence analysis, Novak explained. The results exceeded our most optimistic expectations. The enhanced processing revealed that the lunar structures were far more extensive than initially apparent. What had seemed like isolated formations were actually components of a vast interconnected complex spanning hundreds of square kilometers. Underground connections linked surface structures, creating a network that resembled a technological infrastructure. The analysis also revealed evidence of recent modifications to the structures. Comparing Chandrayaan-3 images with historical data showed subtle but consistent changes over the past decade. New formations had appeared, existing structures had been expanded, and previously inactive areas showed signs of renewed activity. Most significantly, the team discovered what appeared to be energy signatures associated with the structures. Thermal imaging revealed temperature anomalies that suggested active systems operating beneath the lunar surface. Electromagnetic readings indicated the presence of powerful energy sources and transmission systems. The data suggested that the lunar installations weren't ancient ruins, but active facilities operated by an intelligence that continued to maintain and expand them. The implications were staggering. Humanity was sharing the solar system with an active extraterrestrial presence that had been operating on the moon for an unknown period. The team also identified what appeared to be observation posts positioned to monitor Earth. The positioning and orientation of certain structures suggested they were designed for surveillance of human activities, raising disturbing questions about the nature and intentions of the lunar occupants. As evidence of active extraterrestrial presence on the moon became undeniable, economists and political analysts within the research network began exploring the implications for human civilization. Dr. Catherine Moore, a former World Bank economist, led an analysis of how disclosure might affect global systems. The revelation of advanced extraterrestrial technology would fundamentally disrupt every aspect of human society, Moore concluded. Energy systems, transportation, communication, manufacturing, entire industries would become obsolete overnight. The economic implications were staggering. If the lunar installations represented technology capable of manipulating matter and energy at fundamental levels, traditional resource-based economics would collapse. Scarcity, the foundation of current economic systems, might become irrelevant in the face of advanced manufacturing capabilities. Political structures would face similar upheaval. National boundaries and sovereignty concepts would be challenged by the existence of a technologically superior civilization operating beyond human jurisdiction. Traditional power structures based on military might and resource control would become meaningless. Religious and philosophical systems would require fundamental re-evaluation. The discovery that humanity wasn't alone and wasn't the most advanced intelligence in the local cosmic neighborhood would challenge anthropocentric worldviews that formed the basis of most human belief systems. The research suggested that suppression of extraterrestrial evidence wasn't just about maintaining social stability. It was about preserving existing power structures that would become irrelevant in a post-disclosure world. Those who controlled current systems had the most to lose from revelation of advanced extraterrestrial presence. The analysis also revealed why disclosure had been delayed for decades. The transition to a post-contact civilization would require careful management to prevent social collapse, economic chaos, and political upheaval. However, the continued suppression was becoming increasingly difficult to maintain as technology democratized information access. Historical researchers within the network began uncovering evidence that contact between human civilization and the lunar intelligence had been ongoing for millennia, but carefully managed and concealed. Dr. Maria Santos, a specialist in comparative mythology and ancient history, identified recurring patterns that suggested systematic intervention in human development. Every major leap in human civilization corresponds with periods of increased lunar activity documented in historical astronomical records, Santos reported. The development of agriculture, metallurgy, mathematics, and astronomy all coincide with observations of unusual lunar phenomena. Ancient texts from diverse cultures contained remarkably consistent descriptions of teachers from the sky who provided knowledge and guidance during crucial developmental periods. These accounts, previously dismissed as mythology, began taking on new significance when analyzed in the context of documented extraterrestrial presence. The research revealed that certain bloodlines and institutions throughout history had maintained knowledge of extraterrestrial contact while keeping it hidden from general populations. Secret societies, mystery schools, and religious orders preserved fragments of this knowledge through symbolic systems and coded teachings. Archaeological evidence supported the historical contact hypothesis. Advanced knowledge encoded in ancient monuments, impossible construction techniques, and out-of-place artifacts all suggested access to technology beyond the capabilities of their supposed creators. The same mathematical constants found in the lunar structures appeared in ancient architectural sites worldwide. The pattern suggested a long-term program of guided human development, with the extraterrestrial intelligence providing knowledge and technology at carefully controlled intervals. This intervention appeared designed to advance human civilization while maintaining the illusion of independent development. Most disturbing was evidence that some human institutions had been actively collaborating with the extraterrestrial presence for centuries, serving as intermediaries and gatekeepers for the controlled release of advanced knowledge while suppressing evidence of the source. By early 2024, the underground research network had grown to include thousands of scientists, engineers, and analysts worldwide. Their collective findings had created an overwhelming body of evidence that extraterrestrial intelligence was actively operating on the moon and had been influencing human civilization for millennia. The suppression apparatus was beginning to crack under the weight of accumulated evidence and the growing number of whistleblowers. Dr. Chen, who had first identified the Chandrayaan-3 anomalies, observed that the truth has reached critical mass. No amount of censorship or disinformation can contain it now. Government officials in several countries began privately acknowledging the reality of extraterrestrial presence, while publicly maintaining official denial. Leaked communications revealed intense debates within intelligence agencies about whether continued suppression was sustainable or advisable. The research network had documented not just the existence of lunar structures, but their active expansion and modification. Real-time monitoring showed ongoing construction activities, energy emissions, and what appeared to be spacecraft movements between Earth and Moon. The evidence had moved beyond historical artifacts to contemporary observations of active extraterrestrial operations. Public awareness was growing despite official suppression efforts. Independent media outlets, social platforms, and academic conferences were increasingly featuring discussions of the lunar anomalies. Polls showed that significant portions of the global population were aware of the evidence and believed that governments were concealing extraterrestrial contact. The tipping point was approaching, a moment when official acknowledgement would become inevitable. The question was no longer whether disclosure would occur, but when and under what circumstances. The research network began preparing for that moment, developing frameworks for helping humanity understand and adapt to the reality of extraterrestrial presence. The implications were profound. Humanity stood on the threshold of the greatest revelation in its history, the discovery that we are not alone and never have been. As global awareness of the lunar anomalies reached unprecedented levels, a startling development occurred. On March 15, 2024, multiple astronomical observatories detected synchronized light emissions from the lunar structures, a coordinated display that could only be interpreted as deliberate communication. Dr. Lisa Park, director of the Arecibo Successor Array, was among the first to detect the signals. The emissions followed mathematical sequences, prime numbers, Fibonacci progressions, and geometric constants. This wasn't natural phenomenon. Someone was trying to communicate. The signals were detected across multiple wavelengths simultaneously, demonstrating technological capabilities that exceeded human understanding of electromagnetic manipulation. The coordination required to produce such displays suggested a sophisticated intelligence with complete control over the lunar installations. Within hours, similar signals were detected from other locations in the solar system: Mars, the asteroid belt, and the outer planets. The lunar installations weren't isolated outposts, but components of a vast interplanetary network. Humanity had been under observation by a civilization that operated throughout the solar system. The timing of the signals coincided with increasing human space activities and growing public awareness of extraterrestrial evidence. The communication appeared to be a response to humanity's technological development and expanding presence beyond Earth. The Watchers were revealing themselves because concealment was no longer possible. Analysis of the signal patterns revealed sophisticated mathematical and scientific concepts embedded within the transmissions. The intelligence was demonstrating knowledge of physics, chemistry, and mathematics that exceeded current human understanding. They were showing their technological superiority while simultaneously offering knowledge. The revelation transformed the global discourse overnight. Official denial became impossible in the face of signals that were being detected by observatories worldwide. Governments that had spent decades suppressing evidence were forced to acknowledge what millions of people were witnessing directly. The age of secrecy was ending. Humanity was about to learn its true place in a universe far more populated and complex than anyone had imagined. The synchronized signals from lunar installations triggered emergency sessions in governments worldwide. Decades of carefully maintained secrecy collapsed within hours as observatories, universities, and amateur astronomers confirmed the artificial nature of the transmissions. President Harrison called an emergency session of the National Security Council, while similar meetings convened in Moscow, Beijing, London, and capitals across the globe. The conversations, later leaked by whistleblowers, revealed the panic among world leaders who had been kept ignorant of the extraterrestrial presence by intelligence agencies. "You're telling me we've known about this for 70 years, and nobody thought to inform the elected government?" Harrison reportedly demanded during the classified briefing. The revelation that unelected intelligence officials had made decisions about humanity's most significant discovery without democratic oversight, sparked constitutional crises in multiple nations. Stock markets crashed as investors grappled with the implications of advanced extraterrestrial technology. Energy companies, aerospace manufacturers, and technology firms saw their valuations collapse overnight as the prospect of obsolete human technology became apparent. Religious institutions struggled to address theological implications that challenge fundamental doctrines. Social media platforms were overwhelmed with discussions, theories, and demands for full disclosure. Protests erupted in major cities worldwide, with demonstrators demanding access to suppressed information and accountability for decades of deception. The hashtag "The Lunar Truth" became the most used tag in internet history. Emergency broadcasts attempted to maintain calm while providing minimal information. Official statements acknowledged unusual signals from lunar sources while avoiding direct confirmation of extraterrestrial intelligence. The careful language fooled no one. The evidence was too overwhelming and too widely observed to deny. The global information control system that had operated for decades was collapsing in real time. Truth was spreading faster than suppression efforts could contain it, and humanity was demanding answers that governments were unprepared to provide. As chaos erupted globally, the Underground Research Network achieved a breakthrough in decoding the lunar transmissions. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's team had developed sophisticated algorithms to analyze the mathematical patterns embedded within the signals, revealing a complex message that would reshape humanity's understanding of its cosmic situation. The transmission contains multiple layers of information, Tanaka reported. Basic mathematical concepts, physical constants, and what appears to be historical data about human civilization. They're showing us that they've been watching and recording our development for thousands of years. The decoded message revealed that the lunar intelligence had been monitoring human progress since the development of agriculture. They had observed the rise and fall of civilizations, the development of technology, and the gradual expansion of human knowledge. The Watchers had maintained detailed records of human history that exceeded anything in terrestrial archives. Most remarkably, the message included predictions about human technological development that had proven accurate over decades. The intelligence had anticipated humanity's space program, nuclear technology, and information revolution with precise timing. They had been preparing for this moment of contact for generations. The transmission also contained warnings about potential paths of human development. Climate change, nuclear warfare, and artificial intelligence were identified as critical challenges that would determine humanity's survival. The Watchers had observed similar crises in other civilizations and were offering guidance based on that experience. Perhaps most significantly, the message indicated that humanity was approaching a developmental threshold that would determine its eligibility for broader cosmic community membership. The Watchers weren't invaders or conquerors, they were evaluators, assessing whether human civilization was ready for contact with a galactic community of intelligent species. The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't alone in the universe, and Earth wasn't an isolated outpost, but a developing world under observation by a vast interstellar civilization. The decoded lunar transmissions revealed that Earth existed within a complex galactic civilization comprising thousands of intelligent species. The lunar installation served as an observation post for what the message termed the Galactic Coordination Council, a governing body that managed interactions between developing and advanced civilizations. Dr. Foster's analysis of the historical data embedded in the transmissions revealed that human civilization was following a typical developmental pattern observed in hundreds of other species. The progression from tribal societies to global civilization, the development of technology, and the eventual expansion into space represented a universal evolutionary pathway. The Watchers had been documenting this progression while ensuring that human development remained natural and uncontaminated by premature exposure to advanced technology. The careful management of contact throughout history, the provision of knowledge through selected individuals and institutions, was part of a standardized protocol for nurturing developing civilizations. The message indicated that humanity was approaching the final phase of evaluation. The development of global communication networks, space technology, and the beginning of planetary environmental management were markers that indicated readiness for potential inclusion in the galactic community. However, the evaluation wasn't automatic. The Watchers were assessing humanity's ability to manage advanced technology responsibly, to resolve conflicts peacefully, and to develop sustainable relationships with their planetary environment. The outcome would determine whether humanity would be welcomed into the galactic community or quarantined until further development occurred. The revelation recontextualized every aspect of human existence. Wars, environmental destruction, and social conflicts weren't just local problems. They were being evaluated by cosmic observers who would determine humanity's future based on how these challenges were addressed. The stakes couldn't be higher. Humanity's response to this revelation would determine whether Earth would join a vast galactic civilization or remain isolated until it proved worthy of membership. As governments worldwide struggled to manage the disclosure crisis, a concerning development emerged. Intelligence agencies and military organizations that had spent decades suppressing extraterrestrial evidence began implementing contingency plans designed to maintain their control over the situation. General Patricia Hayes, former director of the Pentagon's unacknowledged special access programs, led a coalition of intelligence officials who viewed the revelation as a threat to national security and human sovereignty. "We cannot allow humanity's future to be determined by alien observers," Hayes declared in leaked communications. "This is an invasion of our sovereignty disguised as benevolent contact." The resistance movement, operating through existing intelligence networks, began implementing protocols designed to disrupt communication with the lunar installations. Military satellites were repositioned to monitor and potentially interfere with extraterrestrial transmissions. Advanced weapon systems were quietly activated and aimed at lunar targets. The resistance justified their actions by arguing that humanity should determine its own destiny without extraterrestrial interference. They viewed the Watchers as a threat to human independence and were prepared to use military force to defend Earth's sovereignty, regardless of the technological disparity. Dr. Chen and the research network detected the military preparations and realized the catastrophic implications. "They're planning to attack installations that have been peacefully observing us for millennia," she warned. "This could trigger a response that would end human civilization." The resistance had access to advanced weapons developed through reverse engineering of recovered extraterrestrial technology, artifacts that had been secretly studied for decades. They believed these weapons could damage or destroy the lunar installations, forcing the Watchers to withdraw or escalate to open conflict. The situation was spiraling toward a confrontation that could determine humanity's survival. The choice between peaceful contact and violent resistance would define Earth's relationship with the galactic community for generations to come. On April 3, 2024, the situation reached a critical juncture when military satellites detected massive energy buildups within the lunar installations. The Watchers were responding to the aggressive posturing of Earth's military forces, and their response demonstrated technological capabilities that dwarfed human weapons systems. Doctor, Parkes observatories detected energy signatures equivalent to the output of entire power grids emanating from structures that had appeared dormant for millennia. The lunar installations were activating defensive systems that operated on principles beyond human understanding of physics. Simultaneously, similar activations were detected throughout the solar system. The network of extraterrestrial installations was coordinating a response to the perceived threat from Earth. Humanity had triggered protocols that hadn't been activated in the recorded history of the Watcher's presence. The Resistance leadership, monitoring these developments through classified surveillance systems, interpreted the activations as preparation for invasion. General Hayes authorized the deployment of humanity's most advanced weapons systems, including experimental directed energy weapons and kinetic bombardment platforms. "We have one chance to demonstrate that humanity won't submit to alien domination," Hayes transmitted to resistance cells worldwide. "If we don't act now, we'll never have another opportunity to defend our independence." The research network desperately attempted to communicate the peaceful nature of the Watcher's presence, but their warnings were dismissed as naive idealism or potential collaboration with hostile aliens. The military mindset that had dominated extraterrestrial policy for decades was driving humanity toward a confrontation that could only end in disaster. As both sides prepared for potential conflict, a small window remained for peaceful resolution. The Watchers had demonstrated restraint despite military provocations, suggesting they preferred peaceful contact, but that restraint might not survive an actual attack on their installations. Humanity stood at the crossroads between cosmic citizenship and cosmic catastrophe. As military forces on both sides prepared for confrontation, an unexpected development changed the trajectory of events. A group of world leaders, scientists, and peace activists launched a desperate diplomatic initiative to prevent what they termed humanity's greatest mistake. Former UN Secretary-General Maria Santos emerged as the leader of this peace coalition, which included Nobel laureates, religious leaders, and former heads of state. "We cannot allow fear and military thinking to destroy humanity's greatest opportunity," Santos declared in a globally broadcast address. The coalition had been secretly communicating with moderate elements within various governments, building support for peaceful engagement with the extraterrestrial presence. They argued that humanity's response to this first contact would determine not just immediate survival, but the trajectory of human civilization for millennia to come. Dr. Chen and the research network provided crucial support by demonstrating the peaceful nature of the Watcher's long-term presence. Their analysis showed that despite possessing overwhelming technological superiority, the extraterrestrial intelligence had never acted aggressively toward humanity, even when human activities threatened their installations. The peace initiative gained momentum as religious leaders reframed the contact as a spiritual opportunity rather than a security threat. Scientists emphasized the potential for unprecedented advancement through peaceful cooperation. Economists highlighted the benefits of access to advanced technology that could solve humanity's greatest challenges. Public opinion, initially divided between fear and wonder, began shifting towards support for peaceful engagement as the implications of military confrontation became clear. Polls showed growing majorities favoring diplomatic contact over military resistance. The coalition's efforts culminated in a joint declaration signed by leaders from 53 nations, calling for immediate cessation of military preparations and the establishment of formal diplomatic protocols for extraterrestrial contact. The declaration represented humanity's first official attempt at interstellar diplomacy. The Peace Coalition's diplomatic initiative led to the establishment of humanity's first formal extraterrestrial contact protocol. The process was unprecedented, creating frameworks for communication with an intelligence that had been observing human civilization for millennia while remaining hidden. Dr. Santos led an international team of linguists, mathematicians, and diplomats in developing communication methods that could bridge the gap between human and extraterrestrial intelligence. The Watchers had demonstrated mathematical sophistication in their transmissions, providing a foundation for expanded dialogue. The protocol established neutral sites for communication, with the primary facility located at the International Space Station to symbolize humanity's peaceful intentions and global cooperation. Secondary sites were established at major observatories worldwide to ensure redundancy and transparency in all communications. The first formal exchange occurred on April 15, 2024, when humanity transmitted a carefully crafted message expressing peaceful intentions and desire for knowledge. The response came within hours, a complex transmission that included mathematical proofs, scientific data, and what appeared to be cultural information about the galactic community. The Watchers revealed that they represented a coalition of species that had been monitoring developing civilizations throughout the galaxy for millions of years. Their role was to assess readiness for inclusion in what they termed the cosmic community, a vast network of intelligent species that cooperated in exploration, knowledge sharing, and mutual development. The communication revealed that Earth had been under observation since the emergence of human intelligence, with the Watchers documenting every stage of development. They had occasionally provided subtle guidance through selected individuals, but had maintained strict non-interference protocols to allow natural development. The revelation that humanity was being evaluated for cosmic citizenship transformed global perspectives on everything from environmental policy to international relations. The stakes of human behavior had suddenly become cosmic in scope. Through continued communication, the Watchers revealed the specific criteria used to evaluate developing civilizations for inclusion in the cosmic community. The assessment framework had been refined over millions of years of observation and represented the collective wisdom of thousands of advanced species. The primary evaluation categories included technological responsibility, environmental stewardship, social cooperation, and what the Watchers termed cosmic awareness, the ability to think beyond planetary boundaries and consider the welfare of other intelligent species. Technological responsibility involved demonstrating the ability to develop and use advanced technology without destroying the civilization or threatening other species. Many developing worlds failed this criterion by destroying themselves through warfare, environmental collapse, or uncontrolled artificial intelligence. Environmental stewardship required proving the ability to maintain sustainable relationships with planetary ecosystems. Species that depleted their worlds or caused mass extinctions were considered too immature for cosmic community membership, as they would likely repeat these patterns on a galactic scale. Social cooperation involved transcending tribal, national, and ideological divisions to function as a unified planetary civilization. Species that remained fractured by internal conflicts were deemed unready for the complex relationships required in a diverse galactic community. Cosmic awareness represented the most advanced criterion, the development of philosophical and ethical frameworks that could accommodate the existence of multiple intelligent species with different evolutionary backgrounds, technologies, and worldviews. The Watchers indicated that humanity showed promise in all categories, but had not yet achieved the stability and maturity required for full membership. The current evaluation period would determine whether Earth would be invited to join the cosmic community, or would require additional development time. The revelation that humanity's every action was being evaluated by cosmic observers added unprecedented weight to decisions about war, environmental policy, and social justice. The revelation of cosmic evaluation criteria triggered the most rapid transformation in human civilization since the Industrial Revolution. Governments, institutions, and individuals began reassessing priorities in light of their cosmic implications. Environmental movements gained unprecedented political power as the connection between planetary stewardship and cosmic citizenship became clear. Climate change mitigation efforts accelerated dramatically when framed as requirements for galactic community membership rather than merely local concerns. International conflicts began resolving as nations recognized that cosmic observers were evaluating humanity's ability to cooperate. The United Nations experienced a renaissance as countries invested new authority in global institutions capable of demonstrating planetary unity. Religious and philosophical leaders worked to develop frameworks for understanding humanity's place in a universe populated by thousands of intelligent species. Traditional anthropocentric worldviews evolved to accommodate cosmic diversity while maintaining human dignity and purpose. Educational systems worldwide began incorporating cosmic citizenship concepts into curricula. Children learned about their responsibilities not just to their communities and nations, but to the broader galactic community they might someday join. The transformation wasn't without resistance. Some groups viewed the cosmic evaluation as an unacceptable constraint on human sovereignty. Others worried that the pressure to meet alien standards would suppress human uniqueness and cultural diversity. However, the majority of humanity embraced the opportunity to transcend planetary limitations and join a vast community of intelligent beings. The prospect of accessing advanced technology, exploring the galaxy, and participating in cosmic civilization provided motivation for unprecedented cooperation and progress. The Watchers observed these changes with what appeared to be approval, as their communications became more frequent and detailed. Humanity was demonstrating the adaptability and wisdom that characterized successful cosmic community candidates. As humanity's transformation accelerated throughout 2024, the Watchers announced that the evaluation period was entering its final phase. The cosmic community required one definitive demonstration of humanity's readiness for membership, a test that would determine Earth's future for generations to come. The test was elegantly simple, yet profoundly challenging. Humanity would be given access to a limited but significant piece of advanced technology, a clean energy system capable of ending resource scarcity and environmental degradation. How humanity chose to implement and distribute this technology would determine the evaluation outcome. The technology was transmitted through the lunar installations and received by an international consortium of scientists and engineers. The principles were comprehensible to human science, but represented a significant advancement beyond current capabilities. Implementation would require unprecedented global cooperation and resource sharing. The Watchers made clear that the technology could solve humanity's greatest challenges, climate change, poverty, and resource conflicts, but only if implemented with wisdom and equity. Selfish or militaristic applications would result in immediate termination of contact and extended quarantine from the cosmic community. The test revealed the Watchers' sophisticated understanding of human psychology and social dynamics. They had chosen a challenge that required humanity to demonstrate all the qualities essential for cosmic citizenship: technological responsibility, environmental stewardship, social cooperation, and cosmic awareness. Global leaders recognized the magnitude of the moment. The decisions made in the coming months would determine whether humanity would join a galactic civilization or remain isolated on Earth for potentially centuries. The pressure was immense, but so was the opportunity. Implementation teams formed across the globe, bringing together the best minds from every field and culture. The project became humanity's first truly global endeavor, transcending all previous boundaries and divisions in pursuit of cosmic citizenship. The final test had begun, and humanity's future hung in the balance.